Hey YouTube family, so I'm coming to you about my celibate story. I am 45 years young and I have been celibate for 8 years. As a young girl, I have always been close to the Lord and had a close relationship with the Lord. And as a young girl, I made a covenant and a promise to Jesus that I would stay celibate and stay a virgin until I got married. So throughout all my years in school, I was a virgin, of course, and I never was friends with anyone that I knew was having sex until I reached high school. Now when I got in high school, it just seemed like everybody was having sex. Like sex was just fun, and everyone was doing it and they wanted you to do it, and it was just crazy. I was just so shocked when I found out that people were having sex. Like I was just like the girl that was saying, like, what? Y'all, you're doing it? You're doing it? Ugh, like really? Like I was that kind, like tripping out that they were really having sex. So these group of people that I went to school with would always throw parties on the weekends. This is when I was in high school, and they would invite me and I would never go because I'm really an introvert and I've always been shy and quiet and didn't really hang out much. And when I would find out that over the weekend that they were having sex and drinking and doing all that, I was just like, oh no, that is something I definitely do not want to do or hang out with them, because we don't have anything in common. It's just like the Lord said, you have to be evenly yoked. What do you have in common with people who are doing things that you don't believe in or that you don't do? So I would always turn them down. So they found out that I was a virgin, and as soon as they found out that I was a virgin, because I was proud of it and I said that I was, the bullying and the hating and the harassment started immediately. This happened from 9th grade to about 11th grade. The harassment, the bullying, every single day. It was so difficult to go to school every day being harassed by girls and boys every single day about me being a virgin. The boys would take it upon themselves to make bets of who could get me to lose my virginity to them. I mean, there was one guy who got so angry that I turned him down that he threatened to punch me in the face. And I told him, you go ahead, because if you punch me in the face, you're going to jail. And he was so angry because he said no one has ever turned him down. Well, this girl turned you down. And I'm not about that life, and no one's going to get me to change my covenant and my promise with the Lord, because I love myself. And they were just continuously making bets and seeing who can ask me out and if I would date them. I never dated any of those boys in high school because I knew what they wanted. They wanted to get in my panties, and I was not interested in having sex or being used. I would get harassed down the halls, and on the way walking home, guys would walk up to me and say explicit, nasty things to me like, take the padlock off your pussy. I can't believe you're so stuck up. Who do you think you are? You're not that cute. Why do you think you're better than us? And then I would get the girls that would just be like, you're so stuck up. Why do you think you're better than us? We should jump you and tear your face up. All our boyfriends want to be with you. You're trying to take and steal all our boyfriends from us. I mean, I would hear everything in the book from these girls. I mean, there were times that these girls would surround me and threaten to jump me in school just because I was a virgin. Now, mind you, I was not stuck up. I was one of the nicest and quietest girls you could meet at school. These girls and these guys did not know me. When I arrived to my high school, I arrived alone. Most of my friends went to a different high school, so I was there by myself to make new friends. So it was pretty difficult, and it was really a sad time for me. I actually battled depression during that time because of the harassment that I was getting. The most awful thing that happened to me in high school, that one of the guys, when me and two of my girlfriends were walking home from school, he ran in front of us and pulled his pants down and flashed his penis at us. And mind you, that freaked me out. I had never seen a boy or a man's penis in my life. I was so disgusted. I could not believe that he did something like that to us. And I just was in shock. Like, what is wrong with these kids in high school? Like, I just felt so violated and so disrespected by what he did. And he thought it was so funny. And he liked one of my girlfriends in the group that I hung out with, and she didn't like him. She wasn't interested in him. So I guess he thought that was funny to show her and all of us what he had down there. Like that was gonna turn us on and make us like him. But all it did was make us like very angry and upset with him and disgusted with him, you know? So by my 11th grade year, I met a guy, and we became very, very good friends. The guys and the girls, by the way, I hate to say this, that were harassing me and giving me all their trouble, they were African American. They were black. They my brothers and sisters, but they treated me so horribly. So by the 11th grade, I met a young gentleman, and he was not black. He was Mexican and white, and we became best friends. There was no romance involved. He didn't want anything from me. He wasn't trying to sleep with me. He wasn't trying to touch on me. He wasn't saying nasty, explicit things to me. And we just became best friends. And after a year of being best friends over the summer, you know, we liked each other more, and we started to date. And we came back to school as a couple, and people started hating on him and threatening to hurt him and beat him up. They thought that I was sleeping with him, and that why would I want to be with this white boy, and so it was pretty bad at that time as well. So me and him continued to date throughout high school. We graduated. We did not have sex. We were not sexually active. We were best friends. We just had so much fun together. I literally met my best friend. Like, we had so much fun together. He skateboarded. I was a varsity cheerleader, and it was just a fun time in my life. And when he graduated, he was a year older than me, so he graduated a year before me. And then I had my year. I went to his prom, he went to my prom, and I graduated. We still were together. We still were not having sex. We got married when we were 21 and moved in together, got our first apartment, and that was the first time that we had sex. And to come to find out, we were both virgins, and that was beautiful. Like, to be able to find someone who saved themselves just like you did is just an amazing and impossible thing to find nowadays, because everyone thinks that having sex is no big deal. You're not supposed to save yourself for the person that God brings to you. So we had the experience together, and it was beautiful. And by the age of 23, we were married. You know, we were married when we were 21, and by 23 I was pregnant with our first child, and I had a little girl. And by 24, and unfortunately, I can have this be a story time, he cheated on me with my cousin, my younger cousin, and I had to divorce him because he cheated on me. But you know, he was the only person I had my experiences with. So I divorced him, and I moved back home with my little child, who was barely like a month old, and I was single for 2 years. And I ran into another guy that I went to high school with. I hadn't seen him in years. He was an African American gentleman, and we dated for a year, and we did not have sex. And then we got married, and then we got pregnant with our first son, and then 2 years later we got pregnant with our second son, and then 2 years later we got pregnant with our youngest daughter. We were married 11 years, and you know, we were sexually active, of course, no problems. I mean, God blesses sex in marriage. You know, it's not sex, you're making love to your husband or your wife, so it's blessed. Your bed is blessed. After 11 years, that's another story time. If you guys would like to hear about that, I had to divorce him. He was an alcoholic. He had a drinking problem on top of other abusive things, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I end up divorcing him after 10 or 11 years of marriage. And after that, I went to the Lord about being celibate. After being married for 11 years and having sex almost every single day, because that was something that me and him did not have a problem with. We had plenty of good sex. I had to get with the Lord about helping me and taking that lustful and that sexual feelings away. I'm going to be transparent with you guys. When we were going through the divorce, I really tried to justify in my mind that it was okay for me to go back and have sex with my husband because we were not finally divorced. In my mind, I felt like because our divorce would not be final for 6 months or 5 months, that I can continue to have sex with him until the divorce is final. So what I would do, I would creep over to his apartment and I would have sex with him. And I just could not control myself. I was so addicted to having sex with him that I just was justifying that we were still married legally and that it was okay. But it really wasn't okay, because it made him get obsessed with me. It made it harder for me to part from him, you know, and the Lord came to me and he really dealt with me about that. He was like, I took you from him. You're playing with fire. You're playing with the devil. You can get hurt and you need to stop this. So when the Lord came to me about this, I got on my knees, y'all, got on my knees, and I prayed and asked the Lord. I even cried out to the Lord and asked him, please help me with this. I cannot control myself when it comes to saying no to this man for sex. Please help me to remove all lustful spirits and feelings of sex off of my body, mind, and spirit. And once I did that and I gave it to the Lord, I completely stopped. When he called me to come over, I told him, no, this is it. It's over. We're never going to be sleeping together again. I'm done with this. And from that day forward, that's been 8 years ago that I have not had any more sex. I'm telling you, he will take it from you. He removed all those lustful feelings and all those sexual feelings from my body, my mind, and my spirit. You can't do nothing without Jesus' strength. You cannot do nothing without consulting him and asking for his help. Without his help, his power, and his strength, you can't do it. Outside of yourself, you are not strong enough. And I did not do things to set myself up to fail. I did not watch porn. I did not watch sexual movies. I did not listen to sexual music. I did not have boyfriends and lay with them in the bed or let them touch on my body. Mind you, I did date, you know, in between there, but I did not stay the night with guys. I did not let men touch on my breasts and touch between my legs or lay on top of me. I did not stay the night with them. Matter of fact, after I was divorced for 2 years, I moved from California to Arizona. And after 2 years of being out here, I met someone online and I got engaged a year later after we dated for a year. And I told this man, I am celibate. I haven't had sex in 5 years and I don't plan on it. I don't have sex before marriage. And he said he was okay with it. A lot of men say that. I dated a guy before this guy that I got engaged with. He said he was okay with it, but he started having struggles with not having sex with me. So we end up breaking up, you know, over that. And that's fine. A lot of my dating history is I get broken up over sex. You know, they say they can handle it, but eventually you can see that it starts to bother them and starts to wear on them. And they end up cheating on me with some girl that's easily to give it up. Or I end up breaking up with them because they disrespectful and they don't want to respect me that I am not having sex outside of marriage. So back to the engagement, that I was engaged with this man for almost 3 years. We never had sex. Come to find out, this man was lying to me. He said he was a godly man. You know, he went to church with me. You know, he claimed he was raised church and everything. But this man was keeping a secret from me that he was engaged before he met me a year before, and he was having sex with this woman. So how can you be a godly man that's saving yourself for marriage if you were having sex with your ex fiance or girlfriend? I wasn't having sex with my ex-boyfriend, and I dated and let him know that I was dating someone before him, and I never had sex with him. So he was just a fake. You know, I broke it off with him, of course, and I'm grateful because he was a loser. And, you know, girls and ladies, it makes you feel even more powerful that when it doesn't work out with a man, that you never gave him your body, because your body is a temple. Your body is special. And if you give it away to everyone, it just makes everything, it just makes it cheap. You know, it makes it even more hard to move forward, you know, because you giving yourself to someone, and then when you see him out somewhere, he knows and remembers what you guys did. And I just could not do that, you guys. I just could not do that at all. So I am just so grateful, you know, that I know whose I am and who I belong to. And I just want you to know, you guys, that a lot of times, a lot of people, they do want to be celibate. They do want to save themselves for marriage, but lust is a generational curse. And you sometimes can have lust passed down from a grandma, a mom, a dad, an uncle, a grandparent, anybody, and you don't even know, because that is called generational curses. And if you have a generational curse of lust passed down to you, that spirit can control you to where you do things that you don't want to do. You have to figure that out. You have to find out, is there a generational curse that you are struggling with lust, and get delivered from that so that you can be free to do the right thing. When I was in high school and some of the girls would talk to me about sex, I would tell them, it's never too late to stop. It's never too late to start over. You know, God forgives. You know, you do not have to continue to have sex with your boyfriend or have sex with guys. If he doesn't understand that, then he's not for you. I never would judge girls. I would always just try to mentor and tell them that it's never too late to stop. Jesus forgives. And years later, some of those girls and guys who were harassing and bullying me about my virginity came back to me and told me that they didn't understand me. So that's why they hated me and didn't like me. But now I know in the spirit that they didn't hate me. They just saw the Jesus in me. And they felt intimidated by some of the things that they thought that they could not be. And if they just got a chance to get to know me, that they would know that I wasn't judging them, that I would be very understanding and give them the best advice that I could about how I did it and how I do it and how I stay a virgin, you know. But it really touched my spirit when they reached out to me. I think I was in my 30s or my early 40s that they reached out to me over social media. I think it was Facebook, and told me that they really did not hate me. They just felt intimidated by the standard that I had was so high that they didn't understand why and how I was like that. And I just want to let you guys be encouraged, even girls and guys in high school where there's lots of peer pressure and a lot of bullying going on, that God chooses and calls girls and boys to be a witness, you know, to show Jesus wherever you are. And even when you're young, you can be called to be an example, a leader for other young girls and young guys of what it is to walk this life for Christ. Don't be afraid. You're going to be crucified. You're going to be judged. You're going to be hated just like I was. I wish I would have understood it more, because I didn't know. I was just a babe in Christ, and I didn't understand that I was being used by God to show others what this life is to walk for Christ. And I was hated for it. And it made me very depressed because I didn't understand why people didn't like me. And I wanted people to like me so bad. But I'm so grateful that I didn't want people to like me so bad that I was willing to go against my God, to be friends with people, That was one thing that I refused to do, is to change and to go against my God to be friends with someone. So always remember that, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, do not allow anyone or any friendships or any relationships to make you go against your morals and your covenant and your promise with God, because He is the author and the finisher of our faith, and He makes the final decisions, not your friends, not your husbands, not your boyfriends, not your wives, not your mama, not your daddy, not your cousins. You have to obey God. You have to, at all costs, even if it means being crucified and judged and hated on, just like He was. Jesus understands our pain and what we go through, because He was crucified and hung on the cross and hated on. You have to truly, truly mean it in your heart and start over, and I'm just here to tell you guys that you can always repent and start over. It's never too late to start over again and to stop having sex outside of marriage, because all that sex out of marriage does is cause a lot of heartache, a lot of STDs, a lot of unwanted pregnancies, a lot of single mothers and single fathers, a lot of depression, and you don't want that. You do not want that. It is a beautiful thing to say that I waited and saved myself for the one that Jesus and God sent special for me, so that instead of having sex, you'll be making love to your husband or your wife. So yes, YouTube family, I just wanted to share with you guys my celibate story, and I am so proud to be celibate. I'm so proud to be saving myself for the one that the Lord has for me. And if I never meet that person that the Lord has for me, I will continue to be celibate and be proud of it. So God bless. Comment below if you are celibate. Have you been celibate? Is it something that you've been wrestling with? I would like to know your story. Share with me. Let's talk about this, you guys. God bless you all, and I love you. Peace.